Well, it is good news all around tonight for General Motors and GM workers.
The company recorded record earnings in 2022, and that means record-setting profit-sharing checks are on the way. Rod, this translates into a big boost for the local economy.
It's hundreds of millions of dollars just to the Michigan economy alone based on the numbers, and it's going to impact our economy in a way that we always remember these bonus checks doing.
This is the story of what happened when General Motors, the Detroit automaker, laid off 1,000 people at the most architecturally celebrated corporate campus in America, and did it by email at 5 in the morning. On November 15, 2024, GM eliminated approximately 1,000 jobs worldwide as part of a campaign to strip $2 billion from its fixed costs. 507 of those cuts landed at a single location, the GM Global Technical Center in Warren, Michigan, and one of the people who lost his job that morning had worked there for 38 years. What gives this story its weight goes beyond the layoffs themselves. Warren is not an office park. Warren is a National Historic Landmark designed by one of the greatest architects of the 20th century, a campus built from the ground up to represent American industrial ambition, and now it has become a symbol of something else entirely. Over the next 20 minutes, we are going to walk through exactly what happened, examine where the money went, hear what GM's leadership told the public, listen to how workers described the experience, and trace the corporate restructuring cuts that have continued well into 2025 and 2026. All of this draws from verified reporting, including Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act filings, SEC documents, earnings releases, and on-the-record statements. Real quick, if you're into videos that cut through the noise and break things down clearly, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps more people find this. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's a good time. We've got more deep dives coming your way. Also, drop a comment and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your take. Now onto the video. Before we get into the layoffs, you need to understand the place where they happened, because the setting is half the story. Back in March of 1944, GM Chairman Alfred P. Sloan and Research Director Charles F. Kettering came up with a plan to pull the company's scattered research operations together onto a single campus, far from the factories and far from headquarters. They bought about 100 acres of farmland in Warren, Michigan, from a man named Henry Harmick, paying roughly $700 per acre. Harley Earl changed what came next. Earl held the title of Vice President of Styling at GM and created the Corvette, and he refused to let the company throw up utilitarian boxes on that land. He insisted on a world-class architect, which brought in the firm of Eliel Saarinen, the Finnish-American designer behind the nearby Cranbrook educational community. And that's when the project shifted into something entirely different. Eliel Saarinen, Eero Saarinen, the Finnish-American architect, took creative control, drew inspiration from Mies van der Rohe's IIT campus in Chicago, and envisioned a collection of low-rise steel and glass international-style buildings arranged around a 22-acre man-made reflecting lake. His directive to collaborators boiled the whole concept down to one phrase: the design should be based on steel, the metal of the automobile. Dedication Day arrived on May 16, 1956, with NBC broadcasting the ceremony nationally. President Eisenhower addressed the crowd by radio from Washington, while Indonesian President Sukarno attended in person, and the Firebird 2 concept car debuted in front of 78 newspaper correspondents. Roughly $100 million built it all, a figure that translates to about $880 million in 2024 dollars. Life magazine gave the campus its lasting nickname, calling it the Industrial Versailles, and Time put Eero Saarinen's face on its cover. Warren turned out to be just the opening act for Saarinen, who went on to design the Gateway Arch in St. Louis and the TWA Flight Center at JFK Airport. Working alongside him on the GM campus were future luminaries like Cesar Pelli, Kevin Roche, John Dinkeloo, and Gunnar Burkitz. A brain tumor killed Saarinen in 1961, at age 51, 4 years before the Gateway Arch even opened, which means this campus in Warren remains his first major solo commission and the project that launched his entire career. This mid-century modern architecture masterpiece today sprawls across approximately 710 acres, holding 38 or more buildings connected by 28 miles of roads and 18 miles of sidewalks. Walk the grounds and you encounter a 188-foot diameter aluminum-skinned design dome where full-scale vehicles are still evaluated under controlled lighting, a 132-foot stainless steel water tower, a 115-foot wide water wall fountain, 3 million color-coded glazed ceramic bricks, and an Alexander Calder water ballet fountain, all of it bordering a lake dotted with willow-planted islands. Fine art by Charles Sheeler, Antoine Pevsner and Harry Bertoya fills the interiors. More than 21,000 people report to work on this campus, making it GM's largest single concentration of employees and its highest density of software engineers. Design studios for Chevrolet, GMC, Buick and Cadillac all sit here, along with a vehicle engineering center stretching 2.2 million square feet across 8 stories. GM opened the Wallace Battery Cell Innovation Center on campus in 2022, announced a $145 million battery cell prototype center in October 2024, with an expected 2027 completion, and unveiled the $1 billion Design West facility in April 2024 as the world's largest automotive design center. Over the past 5 years alone, GM has poured more than $2.5 billion into this property. A motto runs across the campus gate: where today meets tomorrow. None of this dropped from the sky. GM telegraphed the cost-cutting campaign during its Q4 2022 earnings report in January of 2023, setting a target of $2 billion in fixed cost savings by end of 2024, measured against a 2022 baseline. CEO Mary Barra described the approach at the time by saying, "The areas we're focusing on include continuing to reduce complexity in all of our products and reducing corporate overhead expenses across the board." And then CFO Paul Jacobson said something he probably wishes he hadn't. Quoting him directly, "I do want to be clear though, we're not planning layoffs. We are limiting our hiring to only the most strategically important roles, and will use attrition to help manage overall headcount." That statement did not age well. Layoffs arrived in waves, each one bigger than the last. February of 2023 brought the first round, roughly 500 executive and salaried positions eliminated outright. 2 months later, GM offered voluntary buyouts to most US salaried employees who had 5 or more years of service, with a package of 1 month's pay per year of service capped at 12 months, a prorated bonus and outplacement services. Around 5,000 workers accepted, generating about $1 billion in annual savings and a corresponding $1 billion charge in Q1 2023. GM also shuttered its Chandler, Arizona IT center, wiping out roughly 940 positions, and by mid-2023, the company had already begun chasing an additional $1 billion in savings beyond the original $2 billion target. The Big Three automaker was under pressure from competitors Ford Motor Company and Stellantis, both facing their own restructuring challenges. That was just the prologue to 2024. On August 19 of that year, GM cut more than 1,000 salaried employees from its software and services division, with roughly 634 of those losses concentrated at the Warren Technical Center, all of it following the departure of former Apple executive Mike Abbott and a leadership reshuffle. 3 months later, on November 15, another 1,000 jobs disappeared. Here is the broader picture those numbers paint. US salaried headcount at GM dropped from 53,000 at the end of 2023 down to 50,000 by the end of 2024, a net loss of 3,000 positions in a single year through buyouts, layoffs, attrition, and limited replacement hiring. When CFO Jacobson stood up at GM's October 2024 Investor Day, he declared that fixed costs had come down by $2 billion over the past 2 years. The target had been met. The problem was that the cutting kept going. How these layoffs were carried out generated as much anger as the layoffs themselves. GM never officially confirmed the total headcount. CNBC cited a person familiar with the matter for the approximately 1,000 figure, and a LinkedIn post from one of the affected employees lined up with that number. What we can verify comes from the Michigan WARN Act filing, which nails down the Warren campus count with precision. 507 people lost their jobs at the Warren Global Technical Center, including 34 in after-sales engineering, 40 in engineering operations, 26 in manufacturing engineering, and 24 in sales operations, among other departments. Over at the Milford Proving Grounds, 60 employees were cut, 44 hourly and 16 salaried, and entire departments were permanently closed, including durability, corrosion, and teardown. Another 33 positions vanished at the Yuma, Arizona Desert Proving Grounds, which GM suspended entirely, and the remaining cuts scattered across global operations. White-collar salaried workers bore the overwhelming brunt of this, though about 50 UAW represented hourly employees were also included, a detail confirmed by UAW Vice President Mike Booth. For context, GM's total global workforce at the time stood at approximately 163,000, with about 76,000 of those on salary. And this is where the public backlash started. Employees opened their layoff notifications by email as early as 5-7 a.m. on a Friday morning. Among them was Adam Bernard, an associate director of competitor intelligence who had spent 38 years at General Motors. Bernard posted on LinkedIn that day, writing, "Well, in unexpected news, I was let go from GM at 5:07 a.m. this morning via email, along with, I hear unofficially, about 1,000 people globally. I wonder what I should do next." Recruiter Joel Lauji spotted the post and highlighted it on TikTok, where the video pulled in 1.6 million views. Bernard's termination email reportedly referenced simplifying the business, but gave him no reason for his specific firing and no details about severance. He turned in his company car the following Tuesday, and GM shipped his personal belongings to his home in a box. Per the Warren Nota's, wages and benefits for affected employees continued through January 14, 2025. Reporting from the Detroit Free Press indicated some workers received 6 months of base salary, a prorated bonus, and a healthcare supplement, though GM never publicly confirmed those terms. The severance agreement reportedly barred laid-off workers from disparaging the company. What happened during the earlier August round sounded even worse. Some employees only discovered they'd been terminated when their badges stopped working at the door, or their computer access vanished without warning. Glassdoor reviews from inside GM painted a picture of morale that had been sliding for months. One reviewer described sitting in an all-hands meeting and being told point-blank that there would be no layoffs, only to hear about cuts the very next day. Others described a forced stack ranking system aimed at the bottom 5%. One commenter online captured the mood with 5 words: "This is the Hunger Games." What makes this story so hard to square is the timing. 3 weeks before the November layoffs, GM reported one of the strongest quarters in its entire history. On October 22, 2024, GM posted Q3 revenue of $48.8 billion, a 10.5% jump from the year before. Adjusted EBIT of $4.1 billion, representing a 15.5% increase, and earnings per share of $2.96 against Wall Street expectations of $2.43, a 22% beat. That same report raised GM's full-year guidance for the 3rd consecutive quarter, projecting $14 to $15 billion in adjusted EBIT, and the earnings announcement triggered GM's second-best single-day stock performance on record. November 2024 trading put GM shares at around $51 to $58, and the stock actually climbed the week the layoff announcement hit. By the close of 2024, shares sat at $52.72 after a 51% gain over the full year. Then in early 2025, GM distributed a record $14,500 profit-sharing bonus to each UAW worker, roughly 2 months of extra pay. Real pressures were building under the surface, though, and they explain why the cuts happened alongside the profits. China operations bled $137 million in Q3 alone, a reversal from a $192 million profit in the same quarter a year earlier, as BYD and other domestic EV makers seized market share. EV sales climbed 60% year over year but still lost money, and GM had already trimmed its 2024 EV production forecast from 300,000 units down to a range of 200,000 to 250,000. On top of that, the 2023 UAW contract layered an estimated $500 per vehicle onto labor costs through 25% wage increases over 4.5 years, and the incoming Trump administration's anticipated elimination of the $7,500 federal EV tax credit, which Reuters reported the day before the layoffs, darkened the outlook for GM's entire electrification plan. Barra put it in writing in her October shareholder letter. The regulatory environment will keep getting tougher. That's why we are focused on optimizing our margins and working to make our EVs profitable as quickly as possible, all of which created a situation where GM posted record earnings, paid record bonuses, and bought back its own stock while simultaneously telling workers that their positions had been eliminated too. And this was the exact phrase GM spokesperson Kevin Kelly used: optimize for speed and excellence. Anyone who assumed November 2024 marked the end of GM's restructuring was wrong. What followed made those cuts look like a warm-up. October of 2025 brought another round at the Warren Technical Center, where more than 200 salaried design engineering workers, primarily in CAD roles, received the news via Slack at 7 a.m., just days after GM had raised its 2025 profit forecast. That same month brought word that GM would close its Georgia IT Innovation Center in Roswell, eliminating 325 jobs immediately, with roughly 575 more expected by mid-2026. GM disclosed approximately 3,400 or more job cuts across electric vehicle and battery operations, including 1,200 permanent layoffs at Factory Zero in Detroit, and a combined 2,100 cuts at Ultium Cells battery plants in Ohio and Tennessee. A $1.6 billion charge landed in Q3 2025, tied directly to the end of the EV tax credit, and then Q4 2025 brought a staggering $7.1 billion in charges, with $6 billion related to EVs and $1.1 billion covering China restructuring. Over $10 billion. That is how much GM had invested in the Cruise autonomous vehicle unit since 2016. Cruise was effectively dismantled after one of its robot taxis dragged a pedestrian 20 feet in San Francisco in October of 2023, and regulators discovered the company had misled them about the incident. GM pulled funding from the robot taxi business in December 2024, and by February 2025, Cruise's workforce had been slashed by roughly half. Early 2026 brought even more. Factory Zero permanent layoffs took effect on January 5. Ultium Cells plants in Ohio and Tennessee entered extended production pauses. GM ended the third shift at Oshawa Assembly in Canada, costing roughly 1,200 jobs. And the company confirmed the end of BrightDrop commercial van production. Suppliers felt the ripple, with companies like Avances, Dana Thermal Products and Yanfeng absorbing hundreds of additional job losses. None of that stopped the financial engine. GM reported $12.7 billion in 2025 adjusted EBIT, guided to $13 to $15 billion for 2026, authorized a $6 billion share buyback, and raised its dividend by 20%. By January 2026, shares approached $85. One more detail deserves attention. GM has quietly abandoned its target of producing only electric vehicles by 2035. Orion Assembly, the plant originally designated for EV production, will now build Cadillac Escalades and full-size pickups instead. Here is what all of this comes down to. The November 2024 layoffs at GM's Warren Technical Center landed where several forces collided. A company earning record profits while cutting headcount, an EV transition colliding with consumer resistance and political headwinds, and an architectural landmark built to symbolize American optimism becoming the place where careers ended by email before dawn. Ford Motor Company absorbed a $19.5 billion EV write-down. Stellantis has shed roughly 50,000 jobs since its 2021 formation, while posting deep losses. The auto industry's EV reckoning stretches across every major manufacturer. What sets the Warren story apart is the setting. Eero Saarinen designed this campus, and Alexander Calder Fountain stands on the grounds beside a 22-acre reflecting lake. President Eisenhower watched the Firebird 2 debut there in 1956. The gate still reads, "Where today meets tomorrow." For Adam Bernard, 38 years into his career, tomorrow arrived at 5:07 a.m. on a Friday. GM shipped his belongings home in a box. Once again, thanks for watching this video. If you got something out of this, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. And hey, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Agree, disagree, or something in between. I'd love to hear it.